Wait for the recording to start so that we can do this legally. Okay, we're recording.
Sit over there. All right. Meeting is called to order. Travis, why don't you lead us to the night?
Mr. Chair, before we begin that, a parliamentary matter, if I could just read the following statement. Pursuant to the governor's executive orders, this meeting will be held via audio and video conference to allow for both in-person and remote participation. Please note that by joining the meeting by video or audio conference, your name, image, or phone number may be visible in whole or in part to others participating in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Give roll call for us, please.
Vice Chair Haley.
Here.
Member Dobrow.
Here virtually.
Member Repa. Here. Member Jersey.
Here.
What to look
Member
for?
Schultz.
Well, he's a good skater. He moves the puck well. He likes to be involved. We're going to see him on the power play tonight. So there's going to be a lot of.
Member Francisco.
Virtually here.
Vice Chair Solano.
Here.
We have a quorum also present. Yes, Clerk Larson.
Okay. Let's go to approval of the minutes. Week. I need a motion to approve or any
I
corrections.
make the motion to approve the minutes for November the 9th of 2021 as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a, oops, sorry.
Go ahead, Barb.
The only thing I noticed is on my copy, it says Tuesday, January 11th, 2021.
The minutes.
Right.
I might say November 9th.
Oh, we're doing the November?
Yeah, the November minutes.
Okay, all right, then I waive my comment for now.
Okay. What? Can you clarify what you had said?
Tonight's agenda?
Oh, the agenda.
Yeah, the agenda is for Tuesday, January 11th. That's accurate. The minutes are what we're talking about for November 9th.
Right, and you're right, I was confused, but tonight's agenda does say January 11th, 2021, so we should just.
Oh,
correct.
thank you. Oh, yeah.
Early January. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right. Carried.
We have to do the votes by roll call because this is virtual.
Okay.
Sorry. I assume that's a call to roll. Member Dobrow.
Aye.
Member Jersey.
Aye.
Member Francisco.
Aye.
Member Schultz is absent. Vice Chair Haley.
Aye.
Member Repa. Aye. Chair Solano.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. You want to cover our participants? You're closest to the mic. Cover any participation, public participation disclosures. You want to read that or?
Yeah, public participation shall be limited to non-agenda items only at this time. Public participation on agenda items shall be heard immediately preceding that agenda item. Each member of the public shall have up to 3 minutes of participation pursuant to board rules. Is there any public participation tonight?
No public participation. Okay. All right, committee reports, probably none. Anybody have anything specific
No.
other than what we're covering tonight? Okay. Year-to-date finance review. So I went through everything. I made some highlights. I just kind of wanted to discuss some things, but I'll open it up to others first. Let's cover anybody who's virtually that wants to make any comments or observations or have any questions about our budget, any of the year-to-date financial information, those types of things. So any comments, questions, observations from anybody that's on?
Yeah, so this is Melanie. So I have a just a short
list of questions that I put together, and these are just more like things I'm seeking to understand. And all of these have to do with the GA, the Fund 20 budget, I believe. Are we discussing like how it's been through 2022, or are we talking about the projections for 2023? Because I do have some questions about the 2023 projections, but I don't have any questions on the year to date.
Okay. Go ahead, Michelle.
So next month, I've asked Anne Marie and Bob and Chris if they have any comments to come in here, but especially Anne Marie, to go over the budget with everybody to better explain why some of the lines are what they are and why Candy, myself and Isaac decided, we think this is how the budget's gonna be. So it's something that we could definitely talk about tonight, but I think having Anne Marie next month, but if I can suggest another night than our board meeting, because it's gonna be longer than an hour.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this month and next month, it's kind of the last.
Right,
Heavy lift for
so,
all.
yeah, so if she has questions, we could definitely answer them tonight, but some of them may be answered better next month.
I just more want them.
Discussions on the budget for the future be held till line item 8 on the agenda. Right now, we're on year-to-date. Correct.
Okay, then I have no questions for now, but when we reach there, I do have some questions, just for the record.
Okay.
Supervisor Bowman,
Yes?
did I understand you correctly that there may be some lengthier finance committee meetings in the future? And if so, should we plan now instead of meeting at 6, an hour before the board meeting? Consider planning at a different time to allow enough time for the meeting?
That's completely up to Adam, but I know to go over this budget and make sure that we're doing it right and that the finance committee understands a little bit more about GA and the changes that we want to make. I don't want to rush it and try to get it done in an hour. I'd rather give us a couple hours. I think at least that's what it took us last year to go through it. And then you could answer questions for me. We'll have our finance Anne Marie here, so she'll be able to answer different questions if I can't answer it. So I just want to make sure that whatever date you pick, we have more than an hour.
Did you want to do it before the next board meeting? Is that what I was?
That's up to you guys.
Okay.
Double check with Anne Marie tonight. If you have a date in mind, I'll message her right now.
Okay. Well, let's do that at the end.
Okay, if I could just intervene, usually the budget discussions with the finance committee or even the board have been more frequent and than just once a month. So we probably should have to schedule a couple of them so that the finance committee is fully aware and that the presentations as well as supporting presentations and board.
I know Bob wants to chime in on his budget, and I know Chris does, so I'm not sure what format you want to use and what date.
So do they want to speak to the finance committee?
Yes,
They do, okay. All right, well, I mean, my sense is to have a meeting before the board meeting next month. So if they want, because the board's going to kind of want to look for input from us if we have any, because you guys are voting next month.
2 months.
Oh, in 2 months, in 2 months, okay.
2 months or longer.
If I may just interject, just because I have history.
Yeah.
You may have to look at 2 meetings a month to discuss the budget.
Okay.
That, just a recommendation, and Chris will kind of test that too. We've even had more than 2 meetings a month as we're preparing the budget for the finance committee or whoever it was, what was the finance committee meeting on the board. We had frequently. So it's not going to be as simple as 1 meeting per month and then vote on it in 2 months.
Okay, so then what I'm thinking is, do we want to do full, maybe the finance committee just attends the board meeting, so there's not redundancy where you've got.
we still want your input too, because normally the finance committee helps put the budget together for the board.
But I mean, as far as just like taking in the information versus having 2 presentations, one to us, one to the board, maybe having more collaborative meetings.
We could do it as a joint committee between the committee of the whole and the finance committee, and that would allow the board and the finance committee to interact, but no action could be taken at that meeting. I think that would be the best format.
That's what I was about to suggest. is maybe, let's say, later on this month, either on January the 18th or the 25th, which will be the 18th of next week, or the 25th towards the end of the month. We'll say, if not, if we can't do it by 6 o'clock, because you said it's going to take more than an hour to do this, and then it won't interfere with any other board meetings. We could have that discussion and have the assessor, the highway supervisor, the supervisor, and any other personnel, any other departments that need to be making any other comments as well with that too. Have everyone in the room, and then we don't necessarily violate the Open Meetings Act too.
What's the, fourth Thursday?
That would be the 25th. And I would defer to Supervisor Belvin on this and also to Commissioner Kula. Neither of those budgets have been prepared or even distributed internally yet. I don't know if that 2-week window is going to be enough time for Anne Marie to put her pieces together or for Commissioner Kula and Suzanne from his office to be able to put theirs together. Traditionally, January, February is when those budgets have been put forth for initial consideration. Remember, we don't need to have this done as a board until as late as even May.
Well,
We can go 3 months beyond.
The assessor is.
The assessor is required by law to do it before January 1st.
Yes, so the assessor is prepared to, if you want to schedule the committee of the whole, meeting, such as, the committee of the whole meeting, and just have the assessor present because he is prepared.
And GA is pretty much.
So you could do it on the 25th for the assessor and GA, for example, or, and that way give as much time for the committee and for the board to thoughtful and presentation.
Yeah, okay. And then there's a lot of new people on the board as well. We can have up to speed, so I think. So doing the assessor and the GA as a committee sometime this month is what I'm hearing. Gene, you can shoot for January 25th if they're prepared. That's a Wednesday?
It's a Tuesday.
Tuesday, that's a Tuesday.
I don't think they're going to have annual.
Any Marie.
I'm gonna have to cross-reference my work calendar because the end of January is getting a little hairy with some evening work. Are we proposing potentially meeting on the 25th?
Yeah, let's pencil that in and maybe we can circle back at the end of the meeting to see if that works. I have to load up my calendar.
What if 2 dates you want to pick and then we can see?
Yeah, so
You know what, you guys discuss the date for a minute. I'm gonna go check the calendar in the other room, so we can see what room availability is like as well.
If not, certain people know they may have to be moved.
I would, I don't know what my 25th looks like. It was just a note that I had to hold that last week of January for work and a personal matter. I mean, if need be, we will have enough members in a quorum if I'm not there, although I'd like to be there.
What was the other date you were looking at?
maybe February 1st. January 25th of February.
Okay, but it was my understanding that this would be, are we talking about a joint committee, like a committee of the whole? So that would be all of the trustees plus the finance committee. Are we talking about a joint meeting there? So no
Yeah.
action to be taken, it would just be an informational thing?
Yes,
Correct.
because basically, and we can have everyone in the room without necessarily violating the Open Meetings Act. Then we're not going to be voting on anything, but have all the information process.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure I understood. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll circle back to this before we then proceedings tonight. So January 25th or February 1st. Pencil those in, look at our calendars for a committee of those. No good? All right, as a start. All right, any, Rudy or Travis, any comments about that you have about, last year, year-to-date stuff, right? Make some observations.
Go ahead and make, I was gonna say, go ahead and make your observations. I don't think I have anything specific.
Okay. I just highlighted some stuff, so I just wanted to cover it, draw your attention to it. There's an email from Anne Marie to myself and Michelle and Crystal. So, the employer state unemployment rates is 0.725. So it's represents the lowest funding rate in Illinois, which is good news. They haven't had any claims in Q3 through Q2 2021, which is the first. So it's down, so that's good. We're spending less money on unemployment insurance. The IMRF contribution, the contribution rate is 3.71%, down from 5.42%. So there's some cost savings there. And then on the employee benefits, she was estimating rather, a 10% increase in group health insurance and a 5% increase in dental, vision, and life coverage, which, talking to my colleagues on the group benefits side of things, that's pretty spot on. 10 to 12% has been pretty common renewal, so that's good. I think you guys are making some good assumptions there. And then it looked like the town corporate actually taking in more revenue than we budgeted. Looks like 109% of budgeted revenues. Legal expenses continue to be an issue. We'll address that a little bit later. We are at budget and we'll be past and over budget here after this month, most likely. GA supervisor revenue is right on, just slightly over budget, so that's good. That's good news. Let's see. We already talked about that. There was one. Oh, this is for next year, so that'll be. And I know I'm chairman, but I'm still wrapping my head around some of this stuff. So we've got, okay. So for the edification of the board and the committee and anybody on, I mean, we've got there's several different accounts, if you will. Funds is what we commonly call them. So you've got the town fund, administrative, and then there's the town fund related to the assessor. And we got the supervisor and GA fund, and then road and bridge. So really four. Am I missing one?
Permanent hard road.
And then permanent hard road. Okay. So I looked through all those budgets. And it looks like under the town fund administrative, the personnel services seems to be tracking the overall, which is salaries, IMRF, health insurance, that seems to be tracking. Was that I guess this is for Michelle, where we knew we were going to have less staff and less insurance and all that other stuff. Is that we were going to capture most of because we had one or two layoffs earlier in the year.
Right,
So
but we're good.
So I'm assuming that's where
Yeah.
most of the savings was
Yeah,
going to be.
okay.
Okay.
But some of it was budgeted because uncertainty with an election year where certain officials going to take benefits or not.
Yes.
Some opted to and some opted not to. So we budgeted for the full amount. And we had cost savings there as well.
Yeah, and it seems to be, I mean, we're only at 72% of what we had budgeted. So that, to me, that looks like it's tracking as good or a little bit better than what we were hoping it would be. And then legal services, we had budgeted 62,000 and looks like we spent $61,995. So we're at budget. Let's see, any other observations I have? I'm going to talk to Anne Marie about those matured CDs at State Bank of the Lakes. I don't know if she rolled those over or if those are just sitting in a money market account. So I will just speak with her offline and put that on another agenda item. And then, Michelle, I got this from you. I have question marks on it. So it says March 1, 2012, February 28, 2013. All right, oh, that was it. Or just, an accidental click attachment. It didn't look relevant, but
Yeah, and this might come from like Anne Marie, it's the food pantry, I don't know why that's on here,
okay.
yeah.
So I guess just looking through this overall, everything looks to be trending well. I think, the township has been a good steward of the money. I guess I'll open it up for any comments from trustees. Or anybody else on the board for that, Michelle, any global comments you want to make for that regard?
Not global, but we are going to be talking about legal tonight. So that will be on the agenda to figure out, alternative ways that we're going to be saving money or what we want to do with, our attorney and legal fees in general. So I think tonight we'll have a direction that we're going to be going towards, and that'll help the finance committee for our next meeting.
Okay. All right.
Because I can't talk with the whole.
Yeah,
Ready?
yeah, I just want to say, yeah, it looks like, obviously there's still, how much more time is left on this budget from year to date, in terms of spending? Leftover items that need spending.
End of March, right? March 30th.
End of February, because we had the odd year.
Everywhere. So, overall, I think that we are definitely under budget, not over budget for a lot of these items, which is pretty great. And I think we'll come out ahead for the most part. It's just the legal services that look like are the only things that are really getting close. So much, so little time left. I guess.
Right, and I guess if I can't help, you said I can't help, I just want to make sure I don't break any rules. We are looking at possibly, a different firm to go with or a different attorney for our daily, township issues going on and possibly still use another firm with other issues that come up. So we're looking at ways of saving money. And hopefully we could do that next year, but I would still be very cautious about how much money we're going to be putting into the legal, because we don't know what's going to come up. There could be something that we're not even thinking about that's going to cost legal next year.
And if I just might add regarding to our legal fees, in the review of this last bill, I think our firm is very cognizant of the fact that we have been very conscious of our legal fees and very cautious in spending. And there were many times when we did not charge for the hours they put in. And I think that was just an acknowledgement that they understand these have been very tough situations that have been involved with the township, and that they have tried to make some accommodations.
Yet another option is may not need an attorney at every meeting.
Yeah.
And that'd be another way for us to save some money. Just depends on what we feel we need to do, what's going on that month. This is this is my first year. This is a lot of our trustees, the finance committees, we really weren't sure how the meetings were going to work and things like that. But as we're, striving in a positive direction, that is another option. I was talking to some of the other supervisors, they don't have an attorney. This is something that they really need an attorney for, so.
I just piping into, it was an unprecedented year filled with lots of legal turmoil. And I think that hopefully we've transitioned past a lot of that. And I'm idealistic that it'll be smoother sailing. So hopefully we'll see those costs go down regardless of any pending or ongoing discussion, simply because after the year we had, or several months, I should say, with legal, it seems like most of those hurdles have been cleared. So
I definitely agree with that, but I don't want to cut it.
right, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments about year-to-date finance and review? All in all, positive. Yeah.
I just have a question about the legal thing. Do we pay the same for like legal? Is there a legal assistance rather than going right to the law firm? Is there such a thing as you know, we would pay less if we weren't going directly to the lawyer himself? Is there something like that, or is it just all in the same bin and you pay the same rate no matter what?
I think sometimes if I call Megan or if I'm emailing Megan, she'll give it to a paralegal or somebody like that, and then the fee is lower.
Okay, good.
And, you know, now we have Megan more than we have Carrie Lynn, so I think that helps a little bit because, you know, Megan does
They're the
not.
same rate.
Same rate, but we have paralegals. If you look at our attorney bill, you could see how many hours with an attorney, how many with a paralegal or an assistant. It's broken out by name. So if you look at that and you're not sure who it is, ask me, give me a call, and I'll let you know who's doing most of the work.
Also, our hourly rate is a negotiated rate with our attorney's firm, and it is not their standard rate. So they do not charge us the same rate that they charge other government.
Good to know. All right, thank you.
Good question.
I guess the only thing to say is that, you know, it looks like we're gonna have positive cash on balance on these accounts next year, so.
Yeah, we got less than 60 days left, so.
Just as a notation on that, because we have had these issues in the past. The board is seriously going to have to look at allocating those monies to reserve funds. I know we've talked about this over and over and over again, and we need to take that action very quickly. So if we are going to hold that intermediary meeting on the 25th of the 1st, highly recommend that be an agenda item to discuss what reserve funds we can allocate for things like improvements to the building or capital improvements, because we do have some projects I would consider shovel ready, like roof related or repair related, that are capital investments.
Yeah, we have a capital
bill.
yeah, capital, like, list of capital projects.
Right.
And so, you know, not only for, you know, the general, but also for sure the road funds.
Yep, all of the members of the committee have received that list, I think multiple times now, so
Yeah.
it's good to have
I
that.
remember looking at it.
If you need it again, please email me, I will forward it to you again, I'm happy to do that.
What we also talked about is earmarking for future projects, just the ones that are on the list, being able to do that in order to shelter that money from losses from county.
That way we have a project that is specifically allocated towards, we're just waiting for engineering or.
Or there to be enough money to perform it, to do their
Right.
long-term thing, so it wouldn't be to replace the flags, that you can do.
That's
But if
big,
it's
yeah.
replacing a building, that would be the same over time.
If it's replacing all the ceiling tiles in the building, that could be an expensive project, it requires saving.
We have to put money aside for the highway or for, Haynesville Road. For that,
We do have money that we could theoretically earmark, I'd like to hear from the highway supervisor on that.
Yeah. Because,
yeah,
He's really, so this is a standard practice for him,
right.
where he earmarks money and.
I want to make sure if we're talking about projects and things that we have to earmark, that we have that too.
So what mechanically and procedurally needs to happen for that to come to fruition? Is it simply, you know, a motion, get it going, a new account?
Procedurally, we authorize those accounts and what monies are allocated to that. Mechanically, the money doesn't physically have to be transferred once it's been allocated.
Yeah.
But we do, or should set up separate reserve accounts for that.
Okay, so it's just like how we're segregating town funds.
It's like creating new funds,
Yeah.
We're
basically.
creating a new budget,
Yeah.
they're just putting it in that budget.
It's not a huge deal, it's just you create a new fund, you transfer money from the town fund or the permanent hard road fund or the GA fund into those appropriate reserve accounts, depending on what those projects entail.
Okay.
So you have, as an example, we've got 10 and 12 are tied to the town fund, and we'd add 14, which would be the town capital reserve fund. 20 would have 24, which is the GA capital reserve fund. Permanent hard road would be 50, 54, same type of a thing. So there's consistency anyway. And then new accounts to hold the actual money for that.
And you'll be able to have evidence that that's what the reserve funds are for, so that when they challenge the taxes, they can see that's.
The intent of it.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have a question about that. And just so that I better understand earmarked, when you talk about earmark, and I'm not sure I'm hearing the full conversation clearly, but so if we're talking about earmarking, hadn't we talked about some limitations about that might present? Can we easily transfer it? And, what are the limitations when you start to talk about earmarks technically?
So financially, based on the statutes within the law, the permanent hard road can transfer money to a reserve fund dedicated solely to permanent hard road improvements. Money cannot be transferred out of the permanent hard road reserve fund for any purpose other than the direct payment of those road projects. That's it.
Right,
The
okay,
GA would be under the similar concept. The money could go from a GA account to a GA reserve fund, which could be for investing in new medical equipment or the building of a clinic facility or whatever. You can dedicate that money in those regards. That money cannot come out for any other purpose than that.
right.
The
So does
town fund is a little bit different. The town fund, we could earmark that money into a reserve account. We could, by action at a town hall meeting, move that money back out to the town or move that money to any of the other capital reserve or general funds by action of the electors.
So that could be moved to a hard road fund or even a GA,
Only from the town side to those funds, but not from those funds to the town.
precisely.
And it can also go to the highway department now because that's under the the supervisor's jurisdiction.
You could already do that. We just can't take money that's already been sent to the permanent hard road fund back to the town side.
That's like, it's for a capital, it's usually like a big capital project that specific money for a specific project usually is what it should be, that should be a process for, not little things generally.
All right.
Correct.
So
Okay.
does that present problems if it would come to like a legal, so I guess we just have to talk about each one of those cases individually. But that's.
Kind of like
be
if you're
my
a school
concern.
district. It's like if you're a school district and you're putting money away into your capital building fund, it sits there until you use it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Let's move on to item 8, budget review and discussion, which is this, for most of us are gonna need reading glasses or more to see it. So, the first line item, Crystal will apply to you. It's Crystal to provide with a highlight. So
I don't even know which one we're looking at.
It's, we're looking at the Avon Township preliminary budget for fiscal year 2/28/23. This piece here, the Excel spreadsheet. I'm assuming that's what we're gonna.
Oh, the one I've got vertically, that's even harder to read.
Yeah. So.
Oh, the property
talking
tax
about
the
this?
levy number. So we're gonna wait for the county to certify what our levy amount is before we can make that number concrete. But we can take the number that was provided for in the levy as a baseline. We'll have that for the next meeting, not a problem.
Okay.
I'm assuming the county's gonna be making that determination sometime this month, correct?
Typically correct.
Member Francisco, I actually prefer member Melanie. I think that just sounds better. If you have no objection, member Melanie, do you have any comments? You wanted to kind of wait for the budget for the fiscal year 2023 for any comments or observations that you had, unless it was answered already?
Well, some of them were kind of answered already, and I guess, I guess I can hold them because it sounds like they're gonna, I will just read them. I think there are 5 in total. Anyway, what I'm showing in the Fund 20 is, I would like to know what accounts for the 13%. I just went through all the ones that were already answered, not the ones that Crystal had. So it's like, there's a 13% decrease in personnel salaries. I think we covered that one. So I would like to understand just a little bit on the details of that. I also saw that we upped our professional development from 2021 to 2022. And I wanted to know if that's because we're thinking about going to a new normal in 2023, and does that represent return to in-person training? And is right. And so like there are like ancillary questions from there. And does that and how, and I guess I was asking, generally speaking, if we think that's I guess I wanted to know where that number came from. Like, is that a reference from the past or is this anyway? I just wanted to understand the more details on that. I don't, if we're gonna do this more in detail, you know, just like we can do that. And then I had then I want to better understand what accounts for the increase in the emergency assistance for the medical bills, but I think Michelle said that we would cover that. And I wanted to ask why there's no participation in the FARA programs. Those are my 4 questions.
Well, FARA, we stopped after we spent, I think we did like $300-something thousand. One of our employees was spending over 80% of her time supposedly doing the FARA program. And it was never going to end until September 2023. And we had to make a choice with our employees, which is the best way to serve our clients that are coming in. And with one less employee in our office, FARA was something that we had to give up. It's something that is still offered in multiple communities. Members can access it through Lake County. There's a lot of other organizations that are still doing the FARA program. It was something that we had to make a decision to drop.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for or against. I just really kind of wanted to understand it, and that does explain it. So thank you.
Sure.
So, Melanie, you're gonna postpone most of those until we have a more detailed review. Is that what you're gonna do?
And Melanie, you want to send me and Anne Marie the list too, so we could be prepared for our next meeting. And that goes for any of the board members. Any questions that you have, the more prepared we are with your questions, we'll be able to answer them. And I think our meetings will flow a lot better too. So Melanie, keep that list going.
Yeah, thank you. I don't have Anne Marie, so you'll have to her email, so I can't carbon copy her, but I'll send it directly. I have your email and I'll send it directly to you. You'll have to forward it to her.
Great, I'll do that.
Okay.
Oh, is it only because I want to make sure you guys get the right answers? I don't want to tell you something that is not exactly par with what you're looking for.
Well, I know we're gonna spend a lot more time on this with some of the upcoming meetings, but is there anything anybody else have? Any comments, questions, concerns at this point?
One thing was I guess this is for next year, so I'll hold off.
Oh, go ahead, Rudy.
One thing so we're getting the town and the assessor's budgets together. So we're still gonna wait on the road department.
Yeah, we're gonna do GA and assessor.
What I was about to say was Bob is on now, so Bob may be able to talk about when his pre-budget might be ready.
So Bob, we talked earlier to bring you up to date to do a meeting, a committee of the whole. So the finance will be a blend of the finance committee and the board. And we were picking some dates to, for those presentations to happen. So it's done simultaneously and not being redundant and wasting people's time. So we had heard the assessor budget and supervisor GA was completed. So any timetable, any ideas from you on your on the road?
Oh, microphone.
Bob, you're still muted.
You're muted.
Try again. Still muted.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yes.
There we are.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I've been waiting on a few items yet. I'm getting some quotes from the county. I'm going to do some paving this year with our motor fuel tax, and to do that, we get the county, Lake County DOT becomes the engineer for the project when we use MFT funds. I'm still waiting for quotes back from them on some of the roads that I would like to pave, and that I need to incorporate that into the budget. That's number one. And then number two is we have 2 more trucks that we like to replace that are less expensive than the one we did last year. but they are both in need, and I just got some preliminary quotes back from the same state bid vendor. So those are the two things I need to plug in, and the rest I can put together shortly. So I'm hoping to have some numbers for paving. I would imagine the next couple of weeks, and I'll have my budget together for you. Certainly by the next board meeting. If you need it sooner than that, I can hopefully push it along the county a little bit to get those numbers back.
Michelle?
I have a response from Anne Marie. 2122 would be a better choice. We were just talking GA, but if we want to talk more about the town budget, she would like a little bit more time. But I don't think we're going to take step by step. We're going to do all the funds in one day. How you guys want to do this? Is it going to be all funds in one day or?
Well, I thought it was developing where we kind of do.
Couple at a time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking originally. Okay, great.
So that would give Bob some more time to put some numbers together. It's not, we need them by next week. We're gonna,
Great.
so it looks like we're gonna meet February 1st to do the supervisor GA and the assessor budget. And then Bob will do the road, bridge and art. Forgive me for not knowing all the fund names, later. Maybe it's later in February.
Sure.
We've got time, so.
I expect to have all the numbers I need by then. Certainly, I would hope by February 1st, actually, but if not, certainly by the end of February, no problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so why don't maybe, I'm out of town middle of the month, so maybe we can do that third week of February, so we'll.
Third week is actually the 15th. It gets a little bit goofy, so it doesn't have to be a Tuesday either.
Yeah, that week of the 15th is when I'm out.
The 22nd is the last week of the month. That last Thursday of the month, or last Tuesday of the month, this room is typically not available from 6 to 8.
It's with the Boy Scouts.
Girl Scouts,
Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts.
Girl
Girl
Scouts.
Scouts, okay.
But that doesn't mean that we can't use other rooms within the facility, so.
Is the other room be available?
Worst case scenario, we've got the executive board room back there, the conference room. We've done meetings in there before too, so.
Or might you?
So Bob, we'll confirm that, but maybe so February 22nd is a Tuesday or a Thursday?
Tuesday.
Let's pencil that in. On that Tuesday. We can do, we usually meet at 6. You guys want to do 7 o'clock, then maybe for more to get here? Outside.
I'll do it for me.
The trustees, that's their standard, kind and all of them.
Let's just do 7 o'clock. Keep it, we'll treat it like more of a board meeting.
And that will be Crystal virtual and in person or?
Yeah, these will likely both be hybrid based on the current pandemic status, I'm assuming. That's obviously the discretion of the chair.
And you say the 25th or
22nd.
22nd?
So you got February the 1st at 6 o'clock PM, is that correct?
I think we're gonna do 7 o'clock for all of them, for the committee of the whole.
7 o'clock on February 1st.
And then February 22nd at 7 PM.
Okay.
I will confirm with our office manager and make sure we've got facilities for both of those.
Okay. All right, yeah, mark those off, pencil those in, we'll confirm them. And then Bob, that gives you a good amount of runway to.
No, hey guys, so that's going to be for me, as far as face to face, it's going to be weather dependent. If we happen to have, bad weather, I'll be able to still do it, but it'll be on the phone while I'm driving.
Okay.
Just if you don't have any problem with that.
As long as
Hey,
it's.
side note, Bob, how you feeling?
I have a problem with that, but that's more like concern for your safety than like.
You know what? My truck is Bluetooth. I don't have to take my eyes off the wheel. I'm perfectly
Okay.
safe to drive. Yeah, it's the new truck that I have, and I talk to the guys all the time while we're plowing back, to see where everybody's at, so it's not a problem. I can safely talk on the phone while I'm driving.
You're a pro.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Bob, how you feeling, by the way? I know the last couple weeks, months have been a little rough with the pandemic. Everything good?
Everything's fine as far as that's concerned. I got through
Good.
my bout, and then we just dealing with the ice storms actually tend to be a little bit more precarious than the snow.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on from number 8 to number 9, the legal services update. So we've got a resolution it looks like we need to pass, but we are at budget, as I mentioned earlier. We have a resolution to fund more money. And then I guess for those that are in the know or experienced, is there anything else you want to add to any context that may be helpful or necessary? If not, we can just go through the resolution and vote on it.
Well, we don't know what kind of money we need to spend on the resolution because we're not over budget right now. So it's kind of tough to.
Oh, I thought there was something in here enumerated.
$6.
We have $6 of wiggle room after the most recent bills were paid.
All right.
We don't know what the last invoice for January is at this point, so it's kind of like, we can allocate money, but how much and why? Would be guessing.
At our next meeting though.
Our next meeting, we would certainly have a concrete number.
Okay,
Okay,
then we'll just wait. Yeah, I thought there was a number in here. There is not. So
If I may ask, are we anticipating anything big coming up or anything, without going into details? Are we anticipating anything big other than the usual?
No,
Okay.
I mean, I haven't, yeah.
good. All right, and that's that. Number 10, the 2022-2023 committee. So I guess as chair, one of the things I asked the board is, if the committee's serving the board's purposes, things that maybe the board would like the committee to do differently. If the committee's necessary moving forward, I know we were kind of created out of a storm of circumstances, and a lot of that seems to be behind us. So I know there is a 2-year term limit. So that would take me out. I don't know, Travis, if you're 1 year into it or not,
I
but
think I'm pretty much 1 year into it,
okay.
Well,
So-
quite a few ones.
We can start looking we expanded the committee last year, so I guess just for the trustees to have a conversation, keep it that size, reduce it, maybe wait to see who we have for prospective members next year, that type of thing. So, any comments, concerns?
No, I think that's a good idea because things may change over the next few months. I think Adam, I think you're doing a good job. My only concern would be whoever is going to take over your job, if you choose to leave, or if you want to stay another year, I'm not really sure exactly what the rules are, if you have to leave or if you could stay longer, is that we have somebody who has an understanding of finance. I think that is a must. And if we don't have somebody who's super strong, whether we look for adding another board or adding another member or something, but I think we need to have somebody who has an understanding of finance, even if it's not township. That'd be fine.
Great.
I think your point is very valid. I mean, it was created out of an excessive need, and the board needs to evaluate how to do it. As a board member, I like the fact that we have community input in the budget, and we have a separate committee besides the board. I think it's good and healthy to be able to have eyes outside of the everyday people that work within it, to be able to justify and explain about why things are done the way they are. And, we've been talking about a zero-based budget and starting, nobody just gets money, you have to be presented with a need, and here's what we need it for. So I like the idea, but I think those are valid things we need to talk about.
It's valid, but I don't think we could go back. I think what we stand for is having members of the community watching over us and supporting us and helping us with our budget. And I would hate to see this committee, because actually I was one of the ones that wanted this committee and fought for this committee, but I stood up saying we need to have community members. And as supervisor, I need community members supporting us, watching over us, and making sure that our budget makes sense. So I have to say so, I want the budget, I want the committee to stay.
Okay, so just as a procedural note, the membership is, at-large members shall serve for a term not to exceed 2 years. That doesn't mean that they couldn't serve subsequent terms. There's nothing about that.
There's no term limit.
Yeah, there's no limit in the number of terms. It's just each term is for a 2-year period.
But the board can reappoint someone to the committee.
The committee can reappoint from their own membership because you should never have enough turnover at any given time. And the board can always appoint.
So having been a part of this from the very beginning, my only concern, and I don't think this is the case, was that there was such a reliance on creating, on having a buffer with the committee from the previous administration, and that there was a lot of emphasis or credibility and or power given to the committee. And so I wouldn't want, at some points, I'm like, well, maybe the board's relying too much on what we say, and we really should just be, at the will of the board, not we approve this and then you guys can approve it. That's my only concern, because it was originally out of transparency to form this committee. And so that's why I bring it up, is I think you can.
Valid.
Yeah, because keep in mind, we can make recommendations here, and the board can simply say, well, we appreciate your recommendations, but we're gonna do what we want to do here too.
Right.
Because we're not, what we suggest here is not concrete.
It's not, definitely not, but I think it's so important to hear a different perspective coming from, because sometimes when we have an agenda, we are only focused on passing that agenda, or I want that really cool swimming pool for myself.
There's a pond right over here.
And it's aerated.
Better high standards, but yeah, no, I just think no matter what, it's nice to have community members or have people come to our meetings. We need, continuing transparency.
It's certainly good to get the different input on different projects that are out there and different initiatives that are going on, to hear from the committee and go, yeah, that's a really good thing, or what are you guys really thinking? So that is the kind of public
Right, even with
influence.
Barb and Melanie's, asking us questions today. Good
Exactly.
questions, good questions.
Yeah, the rationalization to outside voices is a very healthy thing to have.
Yeah, I think the community and the township needed it desperately, so. But I also think it's time for the board to review it, and our role, purpose, and the size of it, scope, and because it's been 2 years, right?
Yeah,
It's been 2
you're
years.
right.
Going into the second year. Just of note, it is 6:53 PM.
Yep, I'm wrapping up. So, thanks, Crystal. All right, good. Any other items, new, old for the agenda?
I make a motion for an adjournment.
Second.
All right, Melanie seconds. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
I think we need to do-
Aye. Aye.
We need a roll call for this, or the chair can go by unanimous consent. Is there any objection
I
to
like unanimous
adjournment?
consent.
Is there any objection to adjournment of the meeting?
No.
Hearing none, we're adjourned by unanimous consent.
Okay. Good. Thanks, Bob, for joining us tonight for a bit. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so January 25th, February 1st, 7 p.m.